For this 12-bar blues in C, the main thing we're thinking about here is accentuating the change from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. And the way we're going to do that is by really leaning on the major third of C over the 1 chord. There's the major third. And then lowering that note by a half step when you get to the 4 chord. So over the 1 chord, or C, play that major third. When it goes to the 4 chord, F, drop that note by a half step. The solo opens with a C major pentatonic phrase. Now, if you're used to playing a lot of C minor pentatonic, it may feel a little weird at first, because when you play minor pentatonic in C, you're really anchored around the 8th fret with your index finger and the 10th fret with your ring finger. And in order to get this note, the 6th of C, you need to start with your pinky and be anchored more around the 7th fret at the beginning. So that first phrase gives you a really strong slide into the major third, and the answer to that phrase continues up through the notes of C major. And from a technique point of view, the one tricky thing that's going on is when you get up to this note, the 5th, you're going to hit that note with an upstroke, and then the next note coming back down on the G string with an upstroke, and then pull off. So in slow motion, and speed it up, and in the context of the lick, and that phrase ends by climbing up the whole C major arpeggio and ends on the flat 7th. So from the beginning, you've got and then sometimes do a little slide there at the end. And when you get to the 4 chord, we can take the exact same opening phrase and just lower the note on the 3rd string by 1 fret, sliding with your index finger. And then the answer phrase to that can be the same as before, only just make sure that when you come into the pull-off, you pull off to the 8th fret instead of the 9th fret. And then a little variation there where on the last note you slide from the flat 7 into the root and hold it there. Now for the turnaround over the G chord, you're going to hammer on 3 times and then do this quick first finger to second finger to first finger, just a 1 fret hammer on pull off, and then a quarter step bend, and then land there. So what you're doing, really, you're just about spelling out the notes of a G major triad, so you're basically playing the changes on the 5 chord, except it sounds bluesier because of this 1 fret hammer on and the fact that you're really not bending all the way up to here. You're just bending the suggestion of that note with a quarter step bend instead of a full half step bend. And then this lick, which sort of trails off in a downward direction over the 4 chord. Now here, it's really just a set of pull-offs. And as far as what the notes are, to me it really just looks like minor pentatonic with a major pentatonic note here and here stuck in. But it does kind of have the effect of spelling out the F7 chord if you... That kind of spells out those notes from F7, and then that includes these notes from F7, so you're kind of hearing a lot of those notes. And then going on there is you're bending up, pull off, blue note, flat 5, pulled off to the 4, double stop on these 2 strings, 2nd and 3rd string, hammer on after hitting these 2 notes. So you're hitting 2nd and 3rd string again, but hammering on. And then I slid into a G7 chord, and then slid into a C9 chord. So that whole section goes